Okay, welcome back. Hey, today we're going to be tying a little mini bugger. Tie these up for a co-worker of mine who has a place up on Kettle Creek, Meadow, Pennsylvania. Him and his buddies, and he wants to break his fly rod out for the first time in a few years. Normally he is a spin fisherman. He asked me what type of flies he should go looking for, and I said, don't worry about it, I'll tie you up some. And this is a little mini bugger that I have had a lot of success in the past on trout and smallmouth. So I'm going to tie him up a few. This color and some white. And then I'm going to tie him up also some black, but I'm going to do that on a different video, I think, because it has just a little different look to it. So what I have in the vise is a size 12 streamer hook, jig style by Umpqua. And the thread I'm using is Danville 140 denier, and it looks like about an olive, huh? Go ahead, start it on, wrap it back. Let's go cut away that tag end. Wrap it back a little further to the top of the bend of the hook. Right about there. Now you're going to take some strung marabou. Marabou I have is from International Angler. Have this for a while. It's a strung marabou olive. What we're going to do is lay this on top of the hook. You don't want it to be overly long on the tail, so let's go about one shank length or less. About like that. Lay it on. Pinch wrap straight down. Let's go wrap backwards to secure it. 2 wraps. That's pretty good on the length. And let's go a few wraps forward and let's go ahead and cut it away. Now this scrap marabou is not necessarily scrap. You can save it for your next fly. Just going to have a little different profile to it on the tail, but it's still a nice decent tail. So we'll set that aside, save it. Give it a few wraps. Now we're going to add some flash to the tail. Flash I'm using is this crystal flash. Comes in a packet like this. Got 4 strands here. Going to lay it right on the side next to me, about the length of the tail. Let's give it a wrap. A couple wraps. And now we're going to fold it over. Wrap it in on that side. Hold everything together. And wrap it down toward the top of the bend of the hook. Excuse me. Alright, everything's secure in there. Let's go ahead and cut away to length. Here you go, flash on either side. Give it another wrap there, right on top of there. Here we go. Alright, looking good. Let's go ahead and take the thread to the front of the hook, right behind the eye. Go ahead, park it. You're going to take a dumbbell. This is just a premium brass from Wholesale Fly Company. Hourglass 3.5 millimeter, or what's that, 9/64. Just want to add a little weight to it. Lay it right on top. Give it a wrap a couple times. Wrap it over in a figure 8. A couple times in front, a couple times in the rear, then up and under a few times. That'll secure it. Bring your thread back. Just flip that over. I'm going to give it a little dab of super glue. That'll sink in there, that'll secure it. Let's take the thread all the way back to about here. Now we're going to tie in a couple of materials. First material we'll tie in is a little bit of this chenille pill. It's something I got from Hobby Lobby. It's green chenille. It's actually rather thin. Perfect for these smaller buggers, or any bugger for that matter. I got to just cut a little piece off here. Now you're going to go ahead and tie it in. Here's a cord right through the middle of it, just like any other chenille. Make sure you capture it, wrap it back to top of the bend of the hook right at the base of that tail. Next we're going to tie in some of this. It's a little material called sparkly scrub. It's used to make like scrubbing pads for pots and pans. Got this also at home. I just actually had this for a long time. Can't tell you how long I've had this. This is one of the first stuff I bought at a craft store trying to make some flies. Cord is a little thick on it, admittedly, but it does work out well. First you have to tie it in with the sparkly stuff facing upward. And the reason for that is when you wrap it, you want all the sparkly material to flow backwards. This is the best way I've found to do it. So go ahead and wrap it in real good. Grab your chenille and touching turns all the way up the body. Wrap it up nice and tight. When you get there, secure it with a couple wraps. I'm going to go ahead and cut that away now. Reach right in there. Now I'm going to take this sparkly scrub stuff and with open turns and a little bit of pressure to sink it right down into the chenille. I'm going to wrap it up so it all flows backwards. And one more time. Go ahead and tie it off. Alright, go ahead and cut it away. Reach right down in there. Alright, give it a few wraps. Everything is nice and secure. Nothing's going to come apart on you. How's that look? That looks actually pretty good, huh? Now, we're going to take some of this crystal flash here. We're going to take a few of these. And we're going to tie them in the neck area for some gills. Let's take a few strands. Lay it right alongside, right behind the eyes. Just give it a couple wraps. Bend it right over. A couple wraps there. And now we're going to take your scissors, cut them to length. Save that for some more gills. There you go. Got some gills there. I'm going to bring that back just a little bit. There we go. And now we're going to tie in some hackle. This is a saddle that I've had forever. I actually think this did come from International Angler also. It's a dyed saddle. It's got some pretty big feathers on it. Good for projects like this. Cut away all the fluff on the bottom once you tear it away from the saddle. Take the stem, strip some feathers off the bottom of the barbels there, You want to tie it in with the dull side facing rearward. First I see a straggler here. Let's cut those two back so they don't get caught up in there. Take the stem of the feather, tie it in, tie it in the front, behind. Let's cut away the bare part of the stem so it doesn't interfere with your eye. Now you're going to take the hackle, palmer it up forward, nice and thick. Touching turns, 5, maybe 6 wraps. That should be enough. Let's go ahead and tie it off. Right in behind the dumbbell eyes. Right in front. Let's reach in, let's cut that away. Don't cut your thread when you do that, I've done that before. Now I'm going to take a little bit of water, moisten my hand, pull all this back. Just give it a good few wraps, like that. How's that look? That looks pretty good. Cut out a couple of these stragglers in the front here that I didn't capture. Then we'll take another dab of super glue. Not very much, just a little bit on top of that dumbbell eye. And I'm going to grab some of this super bright all-purpose dubbing. That olive hair looks pretty good to match. We're going to match her up. Not a lot, just enough to cover up this bare spot and in between the eyes there. Add a little wax to the thread. This is just beeswax. Got all kind of dubbing waxes. I just got that all just laying there, and it works pretty well. Dub it on. Get my dry hands here. Get some water on them again. Gonna make a nice thin noodle. Couple wraps. Now up and over. Figure 8 it. Let's get this nice and thin there on the bottom again. A few wraps in front of the eyes. Spin it over. Grab your whip finish tool. Few whips right down below the eye. Pull it tight. Cut it away. A little more super glue. And there you go. What do you think about that? I've actually had a lot of success with this little bugger. It's morphed over the years, don't get me wrong. I actually just started with this sparkly stuff and a tail and some eyes, and then I added some that chenille, then I added this hackle, and this is what it's become today. It's what I like to fish with, and it definitely catches fish, no doubt about that. It's a little bugger, just a tiny little bugger. Alright, hope you like this fly. Hope you like my videos. If you do, give me a subscribe, give me a like, stick around for the next version of this same fly. It's going to be black, it has a little different material for the sparkly stuff, and it's going to be similar, but not so similar. Alright, hope you like it, and if you do, tie one up yourself and take it fishing. Alright, cheers. I'll see you next time.